Hi, my name is Cameron Madrano, and this is my Lest We Forget project for History 1301 with Jordan O'Connell. For this project, we're supposed to select a controversial or a lesser known American figure from our area of study, then prepare and record a YouTube presentation that explores that figure's life and reconsiders his or her historical legacy here in the 21st century. For this presentation, we had to dive into the personal life and circumstances of our historical figure. We were also instructed to explore their human flaws and discuss the events that made them catapulted into the historical records. And lastly, we made a case for why they should be remembered in the 21st century. For my project, I chose Henry Clay. Clay was a prominent American statesman and politician in the 19th century. He served as senator, a Speaker of the House of Representatives, Secretary of State, and was known for his influential role in shaping American politics during his time. Clay was a skilled negotiator and played a key role in the development of the American system and the Missouri Compromise. He was often referred to as a great compromiser for his efforts to find middle ground on contentious issues. Henry Clay, The Essential American, is a biography written by David S. Hadler and Jeanne T. Hadler. Both the Hadlers are respected historians who have authored and co-authored several works on American history and are scholars with academic backgrounds. David S. Hadler is a quote-unquote an award-winning historian. Jeanne taught at the United States Air Force Academy but retired after many years in the classroom. Henry Clay was born to Elizabeth Hudson Watkins and John Clay. John was a Baptist minister and a middle class planter. They together had 9 children, but only 5 survived. Henry Clay was born during the midst of the Revolutionary War on April 12, 1777, in Hanover County, Virginia, on a modest farm. His dad at the time of Henry's birth was a middle class planter. He soon elevated to a member of the elite planter class by the time of his death, 4 years after Henry's birth. Clay's mother remarried to Captain Henry Watkins, a soldier, prosperous farmer, and a kind stepfather. And Clay's youth was relatively comfortable. Clay's formal education was limited to about 3 years. However, his intelligence led him to interact with future political leaders like Democratic newspaperman Thomas Ritchie. Aside from his Virginia origins, Clay also had a crucial connection to the Founding Fathers. The teenage Clay got his intellectual start as an apprentice to Virginia Judge George Wythe, a legendary legal scholar who had counseled the likes of Thomas Jefferson and James Monroe. Wythe served as a father figure to the teen, teaching him that America could become an example for the rest of the world. Wythe would set a crucial example for the young Clay, one that would stick with him into his later years. In 1797, Clay was admitted to the Virginia bar. Virginia was a hotbed for lawyers and politicians. However, Clay wanted to make a name for himself, so he had to find new ground. This is when he relocated to Lexington, Kentucky, where he quickly gained a reputation as a skilled lawyer, which included Aaron Burr against conspiracy charges. Clay furthered his stay in Kentucky for his marriage to Lucretia Hart, who was very well educated. They married on April 11, 1799. They together had 11 children, 6 daughters and 5 sons. Clay had to endure the loss of 7 of his children before he had passed. Clay's ambition soon led him towards the path of politics, and Clay received his first taste of national politics in 1806 when he was appointed to the U.S. Senate at 29 years old. Clay quickly became an outstanding legislator, serving several terms as Speaker of the House and becoming a leader in the Senate. He was an expert at the ins and outs of the congressional bargaining and leadership. He was quote unquote persuasive in ways that others can never match. Not only was Clay symbolic of the growing nation, the great compromiser became a beloved figure in the American life. Clay captured the hearts of the American people like no man would until Abraham Lincoln, as an engaging and skilled politician. Throughout the rest of his life, Clay would become intimately involved with America's political development, while pushing for war in 1812 by helping create the Whig Party and facilitating cross-sectional compromises over slavery, earning the nickname the Great Pacificator. Quote unquote, Clay's mark on the country was indelible as his influence on its politics was profound. In 1824, Clay set a new political office, the president, but 2 other running candidates frustrated his candidacy, John Quincy Adams and Andrew Jackson. When Adams won the election, he appointed Clay as his Secretary of State. In 1824, Jackson secured the presidency, defeating Adams. As Clay's National Republican Party faced internal divisions, eventually merging into the Whig Party, Clay decided to withdraw from the political life and went back to Kentucky. Clay was quote unquote was unable to stay away from Washington. He returned in 1831. The following year election, Clay ran as a national Republican. After he was unsuccessful, Henry remained in the Senate, competing with Jackson and becoming the head of the Whig Party. Clay flew into a drunken rage after the 1840 Whig Convention, after they nominated William Henry Harrison for president over him. In 1842, he retired from the Senate and returned to Kentucky. For a second time, however, 2 years later, he returned to Washington after the Whig Party selected him as their candidate for the 1844 presidential election. Similar to his previous campaign a decade ago, the focus of his selection revolved around a single issue. This time, it was the annexation of Texas. Clay objected to the proposal, expressing concerns that it might lead to a conflict with Mexico and rekindle tensions between pro slavery and anti slavery states. In contrast, his rival, James K. Polk, strongly advocated for Texas statehood, resulting in his victory and securing the presidency. Nearly until his final days, Clay remained engaged in the nation's political affairs. Despite grappling with tuberculosis, he passed away on June 29, 1852. Remembered for his significant contributions to the country, Clay was honored with the rare distinction of lying in the state in the Capitol Rotunda, a first-time occurrence. Funeral service took place in various cities, including New York and Washington. His final resting place is in Lexington, Kentucky. Henry Clay was catapulted, to the historical records in 1820 as he played a crucial role in brokering the Missouri Compromise. This compromise sought to maintain a balance between the slave and free states in the expanding United States. It admitted Missouri as a slave state and Maine as a free state, while also establishing a line dividing future territories into slave and free regions. Clay was a key advocate of the American system, an economic plan that aimed to strengthen the United States through a series of measures, including a strong banking system, protective tariffs to promote industry, and internal improvements such as roads and canals. In his later years, Clay returned to the Senate to play a crucial role in the Compromise of 1850, which was another effort to address the growing sectional tensions over slavery. The compromise included provisions such as admission of California as a free state and the Fugitive Slave Act. In the 21st century, we can remember Henry Clay as a prominent figure in American history. He was known as a great compromiser for his efforts to find solutions to the conflicts between the North and the South. His legacy reminds us of the importance of finding common ground and working towards unity.